Hello, great scholars. Once again, you are in another learning segment with Mr. Alan, and science is fun. As I take you through this session, I want you to have an open mind as we study the life cycle of some selected vertebrates for this particular lesson. So what I'm looking for is your ability to explain and analyze the life cycle of mammals and birds. Can you do that for me at the end of the class? We'll see to that. Okay, let's move on at this point. So the first life cycle of a mammal I'm going to be looking at is a horse. A horse is a mammal. Now, what are mammals in the animal kingdom? Mammals are simply animals that possess or have a mammary gland. Now, the word mammary gland is the name given to the word breast in English. So you call mammary gland breast in English, and breast or mammary gland is simply an organ that helps in the feeding of their young ones when they give birth from one generation to another. So looking at the life cycle of a horse, let's start from these two adults we can see here. Two adult horse will mate. Mating means they come together, they exchange their sex cells, or what we call gametes or reproductive cells. Now these reproductive cells fuses together and forms a zygote. Now the zygote is implanted in the uterus or the womb of the mother horse. After some time, the zygote will grow into a baby horse in the mother's womb, and when it's time for delivery or when the gestation period is complete, gestation period is a period from conception to birth, then it will give birth to the young horse. We call the young horse a foal. As you can see in this picture, this is the picture showing how the birth takes place. It comes out through the female genitalia, and after a while the baby begins to feed from the mammary gland of the mother horse. Foal is the name given to a baby horse. It's spelled F-O-A-L. Okay, this foal after some time metamorphoses or grows into what we call a calf. A calf is a young horse that is preparing to grow into adult stage after some time. The cycle continues this way as the calf grows into an adult horse. This helps to maintain their life cycle from one generation to another so that horses don't go extinct. And when animals go extinct, that simply means they cease to exist, or they cease to be on the face of the earth again. Okay, moving on to another mammal. Elephants are the biggest or the largest mammal on land. Elephants have a gestation period or a time of conception to birth of between 1 year, 6 months, or maximum of 2 years. And oftentimes they give birth to just one at a time. Some other animals give birth to 2, 3, or multiple animals. It all depends on their size and their gestation period. It differs from one animal or mammal to another. In man, it's for a period of 9 months, and you can convert that to days, you can convert it to weeks, as the case may be. That's a cross-curricular with science and numeracy. So you just use your time conversion to do that. So this is a baby elephant that is connected to the mother elephant through the umbilical cord. Now this umbilical cord is the medium of exchange of material such as food, water, and oxygen between the mother and the baby that is growing inside the uterus or the womb. Then after a period of 1 year, 6 months, or 2 years, it is given birth to as a baby elephant. Then the baby elephant grows to a young elephant, and from a young elephant it grows into an adult elephant again, and the cycle continues. I'll move on to another mammal right now. We're going to be looking at the life cycle of the gorilla. The gorilla is a primate. They are found mostly in the woods, the forest, and rainforest habitats. You tend to see them moving from one tree to the other. They can jump from one tree to the other. They have fur on their body. They take care of their babies for a while. After then, they allow them to start up their own life in their immediate environment or habitat. So it starts with 2 adults, as you can see in this picture here. These are 2 adults. They are mating. Mating means, like I said in the earlier explanation or the earlier illustration about the horses, the mating involves the coming together of a male and female organism in order to exchange their reproductive cells or gametes to fuse together into one, forms a zygote which is spherical in shape, and it begins to grow into the baby of that particular animal species in the uterus or the womb of the female animal. Now the embryo is a metamorphosis from the zygote. Then when it is now fully forming the baby of this animal, even humans too, you call it a fetus. Then it's now born out as a baby after the gestation period is completed. Okay, so when these two mates, they will give birth to a newborn. This is a 1-day-old newborn gorilla. Then after a while, in a space of 2 years, it will grow into a toddler, as you can see here. Then the toddler grows into an adult after a period of 10 years. Between a toddler and an adult gorilla is an interval of 8 years. So they take time to grow, to become adult and become independent in their environment, to carry out their life processes like feeding, like hunting, like jumping from tree to tree, and mating again at this stage to continue their life cycle. In this manner, they replicate themselves from one generation to another and they don't go extinct. Another mammal we should consider in this lesson is the human mammal. Humans, as you all know, or for your information, are also mammals. Some people say we are not animals. Okay, if you're not an animal, we have only two types of living things in the environment, plants and animals. So where do you fall? Are you a plant or an animal? Okay, the answer, I guess, is animal. So animals have the lower class animals and the higher class animals. So man occupies the highest position in the animal kingdom because he's intelligent. He has a very high IQ, what we call intelligent quotient, and he has a good sense of reasoning, and he can invent things and solve his problems, what other animals cannot do. So he can do for himself to get things done and have a pleasurable or convenient life. So in humans, a male and a female mate and exchange their sex cells, which is known as spermatozoon and ovum, as the case may be, from the female. It fuses to form a zygote. The zygote grows into an embryo in the uterus or the womb of the female human, as you can see in this picture here. So this is the fetus in the womb. And the fetus in the womb, after a period of 9 months, which is the full gestation period in humans, is born as a baby or infant. So that is birth to 1 year. That's how the baby looks like. Then the baby, after 1 to 3 years, looks like this, metamorphosed or grown into a toddler. Then a toddler between the age of 3 to 5 years grows into a preschooler, that is getting ready to start schooling. So it's another different stage in the life cycle of human. After a while, between age 5 to 12, the child is already in primary school. He has grown into a primary school boy from a preschooler. Then after a while, this primary school boy or a teenager grows into an adolescent or teenager here between the age of 13 to 19 years. Then a teenager, after some years, between 36 to 55 years, grows into an adult, as you can see in this picture. Then adults grows too, and they tend to change in their bodily size, they change in their appearance or their outlook. Some of them begin to grow gray hair, and bodies begin to wrinkle and so on. That's to tell you they're approaching the old age. As you can see, old person, they range from the age of 55 plus or 55 and above, as you can see here, 55 years and above. So this explains the life cycle, the timeline of humans from conception to birth and to all the growth stages that takes place until one becomes an adult. Through this medium of reproduction in the life cycle of humans and other mammals we just treated, they grow from one generation to another and they don't go extinct. I'll take you to the life cycle of birds. Now, this is the reproductive system of a bird. This is where the egg is produced at the ovary. So when they are fertilized by a male reproductive cell or gamete, it will move through this structure called the infundibulum, or called the oviduct in humans. As you can see, I try to expand it or zoom it in, and it will zoom out. You could see that it's a channel or a passage that allows for the egg to be deposited while the male sex cell fertilizes it. Then it forms a full-fledged egg here, and after a while it is being laid through the cloaca. Now this vent is called the cloaca, through which the eggs are laid. So this is just showing you the reproductive system of a bird, as we are going to be looking at the life cycle of birds in this lesson. This is how an egg looks like. This is the shape of an egg. It has different parts, as you can see. So you can pause this video to look at the different parts. Now what forms the cheek is actually the yolk. This part that is labeled the yolk forms the cheek. Then other parts are protective structure like the shell. The air cell allows air to enter into it so that the embryo can form very well and become a cheek. And after a while, this is the life cycle of a bird. Now when this happens in the reproductive system, the egg is laid. And when the egg is laid, after 21 days or 3 weeks interval, that's the gestation period of birth. It takes place between the day of laying to 21 days, which is equivalent to 3 weeks. It will hatch into a chick. Hatching means when the egg shell breaks and allows the chick to come out to the external environment. Then the chick grows into a young bird or fledgling. A young bird is called fledgling or young bird, as the case may be. Then the young bird will metamorphose after some time by feeding, by carrying out different activities in the environment, and it grows into an adult sparrow bird. This adult sparrow bird will mate again with another male bird and eventually lays eggs again, and the cycle continues. So this brings me to the life cycle of amphibians. We're just going to look at the life cycle of one amphibian. Amphibians are animals that have a double life. They live both on land and in water. So what I'm looking for is ability to give an account of the life cycle of amphibians. So I'm using this picture here. Good example of amphibians. We have the frog, we have toads, we have salamanders, we have newts, and we have caecilians. Those are the 5 members that belong to the amphibian family. Most of them have to go back to water to lay eggs. So as you can see in this picture, the frog lays eggs in water, which is its spawning ground. Then after a while, the eggs hatch into tadpoles, as you can see in this next picture. But the tadpoles initially doesn't come out with limbs. It's just looking like a fish. Then after a while, it will metamorphose into tadpoles with hind limbs. Then later, tadpoles with 4 limbs. That's it will now have both front and back legs for movement. But at this stage, it still breathes with gills in water. But as it grows and metamorphoses into the adult frog, the gills begin to disappear and replaced by lungs. Why it is being replaced by lungs is because it will have to come back to land, because mostly some frog can also come back to land. They can breathe outside water, and when they get back into water, they also have a mechanism for breathing. But for the toad is always found on land, while frog is mostly found in water environments. But they all have a double life as they can perform both functions. So this adult frog will mate again, as you can see here. Then when they mate, they fertilize their eggs and they lay eggs again, and the cycle will continue. Alright, so that brings me to the end of this lesson. I hope you found it interesting. Thank you for your audience. I'll see you in my next learning segment. It's bye for now. Any questions? I'm on standby to take them. Thank you so much, scholars. Bye.